Hi everybody, today we're going to be installing the chimneys for both the wood-fired barbecue and the brick oven, and we're going to also finish the roof. There are several different options for venting out your smoke. The least expensive would be a masonry chimney, and I think that would actually look the nicest, and that's a personal preference. However, the downside to that is it's much more labor intensive. Your other option would be to use a single walled flue system. In other words, something like this you would find at your big box store. It's a curved sheet of metal that just clicks in position. You might see them used in a boiler system in your basement. That's great as long as you don't have anything that's combustible near it. I have a problem because I have a roof, so the roof is made out of wood and it could go up in flames. So I went with a Class A double-walled insulated chimney pipe. This stuff is rated so that way you can actually be within 2 inches of something combustible and still be within code, at least where I'm living here in the Northeast in New York State. To install a system like this, you're going to need a whole bunch of other things. So let me go through each of the things that we're going to be using here. The first part of the installation process is going to be installing the anchor plate, and I have 2 of them. This one's for the pizza oven, and the larger diameter is for the barbecue. The second thing you're going to need, and the second part of the installation process, is going to be the flashing. Now, this is the larger flashing. This is for the barbecue, and the one underneath here, this is going to be for the wood-fired pizza oven. Now, the next part of the installation would be installing the collars. The collars are going to wrap around the chimney pipe once they're installed, and they're just going to hug real tight, and then they're going to be siliconed. That way, no water can run down the side of the pipe when it rains. Now, the last part of the installation is going to be installing the caps. Now, this is the larger diameter one, so this is for the barbecue, and then the smaller one is for the pizza oven. To prep the roof, I am going to be putting down an underlayment. If this was a house, I would be doing a few other things as well, but it is not a house, so we're just going to go with this route. And once the underlayment is down, I'm going to be installing drip edge. The drip edge goes around the entire perimeter of the roof, and after that, you're going to put down your starter shingles. And once those are down, you can start really shingling. Now, I'm not going to get into too much detail with the actual shingling because I'm not really a roofer, and a lot of what I learned on YouTube myself. So there's some good videos out there if you need information, so you can check those out. To mark your locations for the holes for the chimney pipe, I'm using a plumb bob here, and I'm just going to hang it until it is really perfectly centered over the hole over both my barbecue and brick oven. Once I can find that mark, I'm just going to drive a screw through it. That way, when I go on top of the roof, I can kind of see where that center point is, and I'm actually just going to use the flashing to trace the circle. Now, I'm not going to cut the holes right away. I'm going to shingle as much as I can. Because I don't want to fall through. I can see myself making that mistake, and I probably would get millions of views, but it would hurt. To mount these anchor plates, I am using a high heat caulking. I'll link it in the description if you'd like to use it. This is the stuff that the pros use. These anchors are custom made, and I did this to save a little bit of money, but I'm kind of regretting that I didn't use the actual ones that come with the kit, just to kind of keep everything uniform, but it is what it is. So these are the circles we traced earlier, and you can see that I put shingle over a good portion of it. Now, the reason why we drew the circles first is because that way I know exactly when I needed to stop shingling. And now we're going to start cutting those holes. Remember, when you're installing the flashing, the lower half of the flashing, the shingles need to be under it. The upper half, the shingles need to be above it. So I've installed the lower portion of the shingles, which are going to go underneath this flashing. Once we install the flashing, we can finish putting the rest of the shingles above the upper half of it. If you're on Long Island or in the New York City area and you want to actually go to a store to pick this stuff up like I did, I bought my stuff at Long Island Chimney Supply, and it's in Hicksville. I will put the phone number and the address in the description if you're interested. The owner is Steve. He was really helpful and knowledgeable, and he really helped me figure things out because I really don't know anything about this, and he kind of gave me a good education and had a lot of patience dealing with me. So I'll put the number there, and you can go check that out if you are local. If you're not local and you want to source these parts, you probably might save a little money on Amazon buying it from what I'm seeing right now. And I will link whatever I can find on Amazon so that maybe that'll make your life a little easier, and then you can check them out and see if that's right for you. So we're going to see how well this pipe is insulated by using an infrared thermometer that's going to measure the temperature of the interior wall of this oven, and it shows about 540, 50 degrees or so. And when we measure the temperature of the outer wall, they're looking at about 82 degrees or so. So it is pretty insulated. Construction of the kitchen is complete. There still is a lot of work to do, mostly aesthetic, for the exception of the landing on the barbecue. But we're going to tackle that in the springtime because I live in New York and winter's coming and it's just not the right time to be doing stuff like that. If you like what you see, please give it a like, and if you are not subscribed, please think about doing that. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I am on Instagram, so if you want to see what I'm working on, I usually post stuff there before I post videos. Thank you so much for watching. I hope everyone is doing well, and I will see you in the next one.